So this evening we are going to be working on drawing interior elevations from from scratch. Um, Alright, so I have been working on this floor plan for a while, and I've already updated the whole title block. We don't have a job number yet for this project. This is one of the downtown Austin jobs, so we don't have a job number because it's a spec house. There's no buyer yet for it. So we're going to be grabbing all of these elevations, or drawing all these elevations. So come down here to the INT layer. I may as well show you what I do, the shortcut I take to draw these details. I go ahead and print one of these previous pages that I've already done the work on. And once I print it, I'll open it up and go to this project and zoom in here. You can see it all. Get it down at the very bottom edge. Turn the job back on and leave this down here at the bottom to read. Now when I go to my INT page, since I started with a different job for this, which is very common with this division, this project. So I'm just going to double click. I always start with the first thing in their list of, I believe it's attributes. Yeah, attributes is the job number. You can see that's the very first item. All of the jobs in this community, this is the McMansion jobs, the downtown. It's also called Central Texas, or yeah, Central Texas. They're always 2121. Since we don't have a job number for this one yet, we're just going to do XXXX. I do know that this is lot 3, block 4, section nothing. The address is 5304 Aurora. I'm going to say OK for the moment. I think that might be Aurora Drive. Let me check here. I'm going to go back into the model space. I've already put the survey and site plan in, of course. It is Aurora Drive. So I actually have this one incorrect. I'll have to fix that one. I'll go ahead and do that right now. Plan 1. I change it to Aurora Drive. Not a big deal, but may as well have it correct. So INT1 back to here again. So now I'm starting the same attribute list with this one, Aurora Drive, Austin, Texas 78756. The downtown Austin area has about a dozen or 2 dozen zip codes, so you always have to pay attention to that. Since the garage is on the right, this is a north swing. We don't know the plan number yet because since we're modifying it, it's going to have its own number. It is an Antone plan, this is an Aberton plan. Central Texas, INT1, and even though today's date is the 22nd, the date I have listed here is the 19th, so I'm going to do 3, 19, 14, DWC. If you're doing my drawings, go ahead and put DWC, since I'm the person in charge of the drawings. 1/4 inch is fine. There is no revision yet, so this is blank. And this is Skyland Terrace. And we are done. And we can max out the screen now. We're just going to double click on the viewport. I'm actually going to copy all of these into this area up here. Whenever I start a new job by copying an old job, I draw a circle over the area that I'm actually working in. That way whenever I'm moving around the job, I always know that this is where my new work is. So It appears, though, we might already have some drawings from a previous version, so that's good. So we'll actually start over in this area here. I go to layer 0. I do most of the work in elevations, interior elevations in layer 0. I always like to start with the kitchen. For some reason I've got some extra layers on. That's the R wall layer. We're just going to turn that, we're going to freeze it in this INT page. That looks fine. I also don't need the dimensions to be on. They just get in the way for this stage. So for this INT drawing. We can also turn off the text for the electrical. Text electric is frozen. So now I'm just going to copy the entire kitchen. And you can see down here in the right hand corner we want to make sure that when we copy it, we don't just copy like this, because we won't get those walls. We want those to be included because those show us the limits of our work area. So we're actually just going to come over here somewhere. It can be anywhere you want, just keep track of where it is. And we'll start with the very first one. I'm just going to move it over here. I don't know what that was. Oh, that was a leader line from a text that was left behind. Draw the line over here, straight up. That could be a construction line. I usually just draw regular lines. Too lazy to do construction lines. You want again to get back into layer 0, by layer, by layer. Okay. Now we actually erased this window when we did the revision. Also in this community we always do 42-inch upper cabinets. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase all the stuff on top and stretch these up. Don't know if we'll do open shelves in this one. Maybe not. I like to move things out of the way while I'm trying to work, so I'm going to move that out. The DW and then the BS36, this always represents a dishwasher and the base sink, so I'm just going to move it over. I don't want to erase it. We're going to have on this wall 12 feet of cabinets, and I've already determined that I want my upper cabinets to be the focal point, and so you can see if you were to dimension these, there's some symmetry here, here, and here. See 493649, and this cabinet will be a different height and a different depth, so we don't get a boring wall of cabinets. So the base cabinets though are just going to be 12 feet, so we can probably just get away with a simple copying of, we're not going to need fill. You don't ever need fill like this when one end of your cabinets are open. Now when we do this wall here, because we have a fixed wall here on the left end, here I'll spin it and you'll see what I mean. We have a fixed wall here and we have a fixed wall here. Since the cabinets come in 3-inch increments, we can indeed have fill pieces. But whenever our one end is open, we shouldn't need to use any fill, because we'll start by building the cabinets from this side and go to the left, and wherever it ends up, it ends up. So I erase that fill piece. Let's just explode this and rename it immediately, because otherwise you forget what it was. And we're going to name it BS36, or excuse me, B36. It was 39, so I have to shrink it by 3, and then I move these over 1.5 inches. Again, I'll do that slower just so you can see what I did. This used to be B39. I want it to be B36, so explode, call it B36. I need to shrink it by 3 inches on the side. Now it's 36 inches. See, 3 feet. But this mole bar here in the middle is no longer in the middle, so I have to move that over 1.5 inches, 1.5. So I can just copy this once, twice, and then I'll have to do some moving. And we'll copy that last one more time. Copy previous. That does all 3 of them. Don't want to do that. Grab this, move it over 36 inches, and there we have. We know that this will line up because it's a 12-foot bank of cabinets. The upper cabinets are going to be a little bit more complicated. which is fine. Again, we're going to get rid of the fill. Do not need the fill piece. Don't even need this little thing up here. How do you get rid of that? We're going to explode it. Erase those lines. Drag this up 12. Drag this up 12. And then recolor these yellow. Yellow is a slightly less bold color when printing. So we're going to start by placing, let's just get these out of the way. We know that this cabinet will be right there. And then we always have 18 inches between the base cabinet, or the countertop, excuse me, and the upper cabinet. So just copy that up, 18 inches, and you're good to go. That will run all the way across the entire length. Alright, so this is where the base cabinet and the upper cabinet are not going to match because, just making sure they're the same again, because the center of this is not the same as the center of that. And that's okay, that's alright. Your eye is drawn to the upper portion, not the lower portion. I'm going to see if I can steal some crown molding. I don't see any here. I don't see any there either, so you know what? Forget it. We won't do crown molding. Some of the other drawings have some lines on the top that look like crown. Alright, so we're just going to copy this over to here, and then here, and then here. And we know that that should line up, and it does. What I wanted to do here is have these cabinets on the sides here and here only be 30 inches tall. Like this and this. Because then I want this one to be 42 inches tall. And we may change that. Everything's up in the air, but I'm just thinking ahead. And I want to explode these windows so I can steal, just copy all these lines here. Again, you can use construction lines. And drive that up. And we come over to the exterior elevations, which we've already drawn. This is one of the reasons I like to have the exteriors done before I do the interiors. Copy these over, where am I? There we go. Anywhere here, and then move this guy here, this guy here. And I know that my exterior windows are not quite accurate, the location of them, so we'll go fix that later. Now you might say, well, why don't we just put these windows a little higher? Why wouldn't they go up here? Or even up here? Well, the reason is our roof plate is right here. And we need to have at least a good 10 to 12 inches above it for our header to support the rafters. And then also our overhangs come down and almost block the window. This is the bottom edge of our overhang, and you can see the window's only below it by about an inch or two. That's why we can't raise the window any higher than this, which is why I lowered these cabinets slightly. I could go up back to the 42 inch, but then you would hardly see the windows at all. So I'm going to drop them down. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with these cabinets over here. I'll figure that out in a few minutes. So these middle ones, what I was hoping to do is actually do some glass doors, something kind of fancy. And since we know that this is only 42 inches, then we are going to have 2 doors. Anything up to 4 feet will always be just 2 doors. If it goes over 4 feet, then we end up having to do 3 doors. I'm going to just mirror this from the center point. That's pretty good. It doesn't have to be exact. There's no perfection required here. In fact, I'm going to erase this one because what I want to do is create what looks like kind of like a glass door, which just means that you would definitely see the frame. Like this, and then just copy some text, rotate it, and say glass. and then mirror this. I like mirroring more than copying because at least when I mirror I know that the reveals are exactly correct. Alright, so this we can then call a, what can we steal here? There we go, steal that one. W3030 means a wall mounted, 30 inches wide, 30 inches tall. So this will be a W42 by 42 again, I think. 40. Yep, 42. 42. If we wanted, we could even raise these up higher like that. I don't know if that's necessary. Let's just leave it 42, 42. And then these other cabinets, we want to think about how we want to lay them out. So what it's going to be is two cabinets. One of them is going to be a double size, and the other will be a single. And just because I feel like it, I'm going to put the single one closest to the glass doors. The total distance here is 4'9". So if we divide that by 3, you get about, well, let's see, it'd be 40, 50, 4'9" is 48 plus 9 is 57 inches. 57 doesn't really divide evenly into 3, so what we'd probably do is just do 18 inches here. And then the other one would be the remainder, which should be 39 inches. See if it's 3 foot 3. Yep, 39 inches. Yeah, that was pretty good. So we would do this as a W1836. Again, 18 inches wide, 36 inches tall. This is not like windows that are called out based on feet and inches. Like this window is a 3010. That doesn't mean 30 inches by 10 inches. But for cabinets, they do call it out by inches. So again, this is 3936. W3936. Alright. I also want to point out that this cabinet should be a little deeper. So I'm just gonna explode it because right now it's only editable as an attribute. We don't want that. We want it to just be text, so we explode it, and now we can. Nope, it won't let me explode an attribute. I have to break it. No, I can't remember what that command is. Anyway, we don't want to use an attribute because it doesn't let us do multiple words. So we're going to say 15-inch deep upper, and like that. And part of the reason for that is because the crown molding that's sitting on top of this should kill into something. And so if this cabinet comes out towards you, then the crown mold over here kills into the side of that cabinet. It looks a lot nicer. If these two cabinets are flush, then you have to, when the crown ends, you have to kill it back into the face of this cabinet. You have to turn it 90 degrees. Well, then this door doesn't open all the way because it hits that crown mold. So by pushing this cabinet here 15 inches forward, it allows the crown to not be in the way of this door from opening. Alright, and then all we're going to do is do a mirror here. And I forgot this yellow line here. So there, we are done with the uppers. And the lowers actually. Just put backsplash per community. And yeah, some people might not like the fact that this base cabinet the base cabinets don't line up with the upper ones, but a lot of this is going to be blocked by the island. So anybody coming into the kitchen is going to see, their eyes will be drawn to this. Alright, so that's the first elevation. Again, we're going to keep this somewhere nearby, but I don't want it in the way, because we're going to rotate this whole thing. Move it over here. You might wonder, why am I not just taking these and copying them? Well, in this case, I actually am going to. But sometimes it's faster just to recreate from scratch than it is to modify. Let me get this out of the way. I want the baselines of these to be exactly the same, so I draw a line, or a construction line, and pull this down. Alright, so that is going to conclude the first part of this tutorial, and we'll proceed with this in the next video.